So today we're going to be speaking to an expert about which wood we should be burning, David Sudworth from Mr. Soot.
David Sudworth is the owner of the HETAS-approved Mr. Soot Training Centre, which runs chimney sweeping and solid fuel installer courses.
So today we're talking about wet wood. Could you just give us an idea of what exactly is wet wood and how does it differ from dry or seasoned wood?
I mean, wet wood is basically wood which has a moisture content of over 20%. If you get like a moisture meter and you take a reading in a couple of positions, you'll normally get an idea of what the reading is. Wet wood might seem more attractive because, you know, you can go and cut it down out of your garden and throw it on the fire, or you might buy a load of logs from the internet, which are not fully seasoned, and it might be cheaper. But there's always a cost somewhere along the line, and the cost is that you get less heat, you cause more pollution, and obviously you can cause problems within your chimney itself.
So it's definitely 100% no-no to go out into the garden, cut a branch down, and put that in your fireplace.
No, the most important thing about wood is that it dries properly, and the reason, quite simply, is you just don't get a lot of heat out of wood which is not seasoned properly. If you think about water, you know, when you're boiling the kettle, it has to get up to 100 degrees in order to start evaporating. So 100 degrees of that fire that you just lit is just you burning off the excess moisture, and it might not even get to a point because of the density of some wood that you can actually burn off the entire moisture. So it's very important that you don't burn wet wood, that you use good dry either kiln-dried or seasoned logs.
So you mentioned that apart from the actual fact that it doesn't burn as hot, you mentioned that it's problematic. Why is it problematic? What does it cause within your chimney that could be an issue?
So basically, it's wood that's burning at a low temperature because it's got too much moisture in it. And when wood burns at a low temperature, it creates a lot of smoke, and that then deposits in the chimney. Now, under normal circumstances, smoke deposited in the chimney would just come out as soot. However, what can happen if it's wet wood, it turns into tar and creosote deposits. Tar and creosote is highly flammable and is a large cause of chimney fires. So it's a real risk to your property and also for the environment, because that excess smoke is going into the atmosphere and causing unnecessary pollution. To burn in an environmentally responsible way as possible, the best thing to do is burn dry wood.
So you mentioned the C word in creosote. Is it, if you're burning a lot of wet wood over a period of time, is it just basically kind of layering up inside your flue, and in time it's flammable, so if the heat gets too hot, it could actually ignite? Am I understanding that correctly?
Depends on the chimney construction. If it's a brick chimney, that can be very hard to get off tar and creosote. So normally a standard sweep wouldn't be able to get rid of tar and creosote. So in the worst case scenarios, it can either block a flue completely, or it can catch fire, which can cause a chimney fire. So
I'm curious, how quickly does the creosote actually build up in that flue? I mean, are we talking weeks, months, years? If you're burning wet wood regularly, is it quite a quick build-up? Is it fast?
I've seen tar form within just a few months. If you're an irregular user, it may take years to form to such a point where it's an issue. However, the most important thing, and I can't stress this enough, is get your chimney swept. No one looks up a chimney apart from a chimney sweep, and they're the ones who can say, you've got an issue. Now that issue, a bit like going to the dentist, if you find it early, you can prevent it. So there's measures you can take to stop any more creosote or tar forming. If you leave it too long, then get your chimney swept. You could either be on the verge of a chimney fire, or have already had a chimney fire, or your chimney's fully blocked with tar and creosote.
So as consumers, we've pretty much got access to seasoned wood, kiln-dried wood. Is there a big difference between the two? So is there a likelihood of the kiln-dried wood being drier and better to burn than seasoned wood?
Obviously, kiln-dried wood is probably more expensive because obviously it has to be force dried. and there's usually associated costs. Like most things, it's a trade-off between cost and convenience. A lot of customers don't have the space for loads of logs, which is why Kiln-Dried is a good option. But for people who have large amounts of land, maybe some Kiln-Dried and some seasoned logs is the way to go.
So what are some of the biggest common mistakes that people make when it comes to storing firewood and briquettes?
Most people, if they're storing them outside, they don't give them enough shelter. If you're unbagging Kiln-Dried logs and then leaving them outside, they're then susceptible to moisture. So although they probably will never be as bad as they would have been if they were unseasoned, you're still introducing wet fuel into a solid fuel appliance, which is never a good thing. Obviously, if you can store them inside or any well-ventilated place, great, but ventilation is the key essentially, and not too much exposure to moisture, because obviously that's the thing that we're hoping to avoid.
So as a closing point, David, what would you recommend to homeowners when it comes to buying wood? Are there any tips that you would actually give to them to ensure that the wood that they're buying is the best possible quality for their wood-burning stove?
I'd say certainly always look for the Ready to Burn logo. That's important. But also be mindful, particularly when buying in bulk. Certain species of wood are better than others at certain times.
So brilliant, David. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. And it's also reminded everybody to book their chimney sweep if they haven't done so already. We get our chimney swept once a year. So if you haven't done yours, make sure that you call your chimney sweep now. Thanks for your time.
No problem at all. Good to meet you. Thank you very much.